got something for you. We got something for you, you. It's something Megapod shiny. It's wrapped in Megapod plastic. Put on your Megapod jammy. It's time for Megapod-tastic. 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 Megapod-tastic.
Good morning. Welcome to Crazy Joe's Concession Stand. I am Crazy Joe, and guess who I have with me today? It's Little Movie Perp.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. Chilling.
Yeah.
Loving movies and stuff.
I love movies
stuff.
too. Hey, look what movie I just got in the mail today. This was sent to me by my good friend Jacob over at the J2H channel. He sent me this double feature disc of Teen Wolf and Teen Wolf 2. The Teen Wolf.
The basketball one and the boxing one.
Yes. I find it odd that they couldn't get anybody back for Teen Wolf 2. Like they had a different actor playing Styles, and it's like, really? You couldn't even get Styles back?
You couldn't even get Styles. Wow. I remember the teacher ended up being a werewolf at the end, right?
Yeah, spoilers, man. Spoilers.
Sorry.
You gonna ruin Teen Wolf 2?
Well, if you haven't seen Teen Wolf 2, I don't know what you're doing with your life. If you haven't seen it yet.
And it's Teen Wolf TOO.
I know. You would think more sequels would do that.
Yeah, he's also a Teen Wolf. So
yeah, Teen Wolf also for complete the trilogy. Teen Wolf also.
A couple people here. We got Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Good to see you. Resident Justice, Mr. RJ says, "How you doing, Big Woke Joe?" That's me. I'm Big Woke Joe.
I never get the cool names.
Yeah, you got several cool names. You got the Little Movie Perp, the Little Movie Raptor. You got the
idiot, moron.
Acclaimed
I get called all types of things. You're right, Joe.
Acclaimed director of season 3, episode 3 of Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
That's true. Neurotic loved my episode.
Yeah, he did. Blue Jays in the house. The biggest movie fan himself, Isaac, is here. Sean. And we got Steven Ortega. Good to see you. And Taladia, who calls you Baby Hands. That's your nickname, Baby Hands.
I'll take it.
I want to take a moment before we get into anything else. I hate that I have to start like this, but I got to start like this. I swore I would never talk about this guy again on the channel, but my hands have been tied.
Oh, my Lord, Joe.
Well, no, I need to disavow. You like disavowing things. I got to disavow.
I love disavowing things. I might disavow this. Who knows? Let's see.
Several months ago, I had an issue with another YouTuber. A lot of people watched. It was my old friend Cinema Sickness. I had a falling out with him, and I swore I'd never bring him up on this channel again, and I intended to do that. But today I got word he's coming back to town for Blobfest, and I was asked indirectly to avoid his table. Which I was going to do anyway, but I was asked to avoid his table because apparently I went on his wedding registry and was writing nasty things about him on his wedding registry. This never happened. This did not happen. And I just want to disavow that publicly and say I didn't write anything on his wedding registry. And I asked, when did this happen? They said in the last 24 hours. I said, oh, it happened in the last 24 hours. I'll tell you exactly who did it. And I let them know who did it. So they know who did it. I know you're trying hard to stir the pot, but you failed here. Yeah, he and I are at odds, but he knows it was you. I know it was you. And more importantly, he knows it wasn't me. So let's cut the bullshit. And that's all I got to say about that. And Dan Reviews It is here. Welcome to the party, Dan.
Hi, it sounds like I'm missing so much drama.
I know. I was about to say, I got drama too. This guy said bad things this time to me, and I wasn't cool with it.
Seriously, no, I get the word today like, oh yeah, we heard you were writing on so-and-so's wedding registry. And I'm like, yeah, no, this didn't. I didn't even know he had a wedding registry, honestly. I wasn't even aware that the wedding registry existed.
It just doesn't sound like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like anything you would care enough about to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
knowing you know.
No, I wouldn't.
But anyway, hi, thanks for having me.
No, I'm glad you're here. I'm very, very glad you're here. We've got Dat Dude Vince is here. Is the Agatha trailer out? It is Dat Dude Vince, and we're going to talk about it. So maybe you want to pause the stream, check it out, then come back to us, because I'm going to talk about the Agatha trailer. I know Perp's seen it. I don't know if Dan's seen it. Have you seen the Agatha trailer?
I watch no trailers if I can help it because I think they give away way too much. I hate trailers, to be completely frank and honest about it. So no, I did see that it was out, and I'm looking forward to watching the show, but I have not seen the trailer.
Well, we won't get into what's in the trailer. We'll just get into our reactions to the. Did we like the trailer?
Sure.
We'll try to keep.
I've heard tell of some of the people who are involved in the show, that are new additions that were not a part of WandaVision. So I've heard some rumblings about that. But yeah, I don't. When does it premiere? November?
They said September.
October.
They said it's late.
Late
Halloween.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sure. That makes sense.
So, did you watch WandaVision?
I did.
Because I don't want to spoil it, but it was Agatha all along.
It was Agatha all along. I think that might actually be the only Marvel show I watched all the way through. No, that's not true. Loki season 1 I saw all the way through, and Secret Invasion, because I thought it would have something to do with the Marvels, which it really didn't. I think that's it. I've sampled all of them so I could review them for the show, from my channel. But I think those are the only ones I've seen like full seasons of.
WandaVision is the best one.
I mean, it would have to be. It was so good. I think I might have given it an A or an A plus. I mean, I loved it.
I would highly recommend She-Hulk too. That's my second favorite. WandaVision and She-Hulk are by a wide margin my two favorites.
Okay. Yes, I enjoyed the couple episodes of She-Hulk that I saw.
All right. Anthony supports you in your endeavor, Perp. I'm not sure which endeavor that is.
Just being a dinosaur and hanging out.
CJ says, Big Woke Joe, now with karate chop action and glow-in-the-dark eyes. Yes, that's my action figure coming out, Big Woke Joe. So check it out. It's going to be great. All right. I'm trying to remember what I put. Oh, yeah. Okay. Look, I got the title of the stream right up there.
Agatha.
Yeah, Agatha. Before we get to Agatha, though, there's something else I want to mention, and that's Collider. What? No, Collider had a great article in the last couple of days regarding a show that is currently airing its final season on Paramount Plus. The show's Evil. I don't know, Perp. Evil's right up your alley. Yeah, watching Evil?
My girlfriend is currently watching Evil right now.
Evil
she's liking it.
Yeah, it's in its final season. It's in season 4, final season, and the cast and crew do not want to be done with this show. Paramount Plus canceled it. The lead actress, and I'm probably going to mispronounce her name, Katja Herbers, or I don't know. She's Dutch, I think, but she has actually gone out on social media and encouraged Netflix or Prime or someone pick this show up. And I'm not up to date on season 4. I'm in season 4, but I'm several episodes behind. And
I'm behind as well. I know I've seen the first 2 seasons. I don't know if I got past that, but this is already the second home for the show.
Yeah, well, sort of. It was a CBS show, so it would air on CBS, and because it was a CBS show, it would also air on Paramount. Well, it was at the time CBS All Access. Right. Because that was the home for CBS
season 1 was
shows.
Proper CBS.
Yes, it was. And I'm not sure why they took it off CBS proper, because from what I understand, it was doing well in the rating. No, you know what it was? I'll tell you, I'm going back in fuzzy memories here. I don't think it was a huge ratings hit, but at the time it was also season 1, only season 1, was also airing on Netflix. And I think it did really well on Netflix. So Paramount Plus was like, well, greenlight season 2.
Yeah, because it was a few years between season 1 and 2.
Yeah. The pandemic happened in.
Maybe I was going to say maybe that was COVID related too. I don't know.
Yeah. But I would love to see that show get picked up. I don't know how this. Apparently, this season does have a proper ending. They were Paramount brought them back to do a couple extra episodes so they could end the series proper. Final episode hasn't aired yet, but I don't know how final it is. I know season 2 of Quantum Leap on Peacock and NBC, they kind of knew they may not get a third season, so they managed to do a satisfying wrap up that left the door open. So it's like, yeah, you can do more, but if this is it, you're also not going to be like, what happens now? So I don't know if it's one of those endings where it's like, okay, we've closed it just enough that the doors, want to crack. So
Do you think those are weird, Joe? When a series has like a sort of a placeholder finale, because that seems to be on trend these days, because things that get canceled, at the drop of a hat. A lot of shows, like, they sort of wrap up all loose ends at the end of a season just in case, but then there's no cliffhangers anymore. It's like, where do you go then from there?
Well,
They have to start a whole new.
I would prefer that, though. I would prefer
because I
that
guess you get an ending if it does get canceled.
Like, I think we were just talking about a week or so ago about Legends of Tomorrow, DC's Legends of Tomorrow on the CW. The producers came out and said they ended the season on a cliffhanger because they didn't know if they were going to get picked up, and they thought ending on a cliffhanger would force the network's hand to make them pick them up again. And what they did was they screwed the fans.
That never works.
Yeah. Angel. Joss Whedon went to the network and demanded an early pickup, and they said, no, you're canceled. So.
Wow.
All right. And Isaac, a couple people, Isaac is here that want to know what we think of the Agatha trailer. So, Perp, I'll let you go first. This trailer seemed very horror-esque. I mean, obviously she's a witch, but I think the original series was a little more comedic, and this seemed to lean more into the horror than the comedy.
Sure.
What are you thinking?
Well, I've been saying for a while, because Marvel's been taking a bit of a hit, in terms of people kind of like not really digging the later stuff with some of the shows. Even the Marvels underperformed, and I felt it. It's like Marvel always listened to the fans. I felt that, and in terms of like course correcting their films, and one of my problems with the Marvel films as of late is that they felt very I don't want to say stale, but they felt very samey in terms of visual look and style. And so when I saw this trailer, I was just like blown away by the colors, the variety of tone and styles that we were seeing. It was just like, it was really it was a breath of fresh air visually for Marvel that I really, really enjoyed, that I couldn't even get from the Deadpool trailer, so I really, really dug it in that aspect. I dug that they are, if I could do minor spoilers, sorry, Dan.
It's okay.
They did a nice transfer of the whole WandaVision, every episode's a show. Like in the beginning of the trailer, they did a nice trailer where it looks like they put her in like this, where Agatha's in this CSI sort of show where she's like investigating a murder, and it's done like in this sort of crime investigation TV episode thing. I just loved it because it goes from there to go on whatever Agatha story's in. So they're doing like a transition almost, which I also appreciated and love. There was just so many, I really dug it. I really dug just I guess the variety of stuff that looks like we're going to be looking at, experiencing. And that was my main complaint of Marvel that is being addressed here, is like a visual upgrade a bit.
Okay. I was slightly disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the trailer. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the show. But I was slightly disappointed that the trailer wasn't more comedic, because I do think Catherine Hahn is a tremendous comedic actress, and she really brought so much scenery chewing to the original WandaVision. And I kind of hope that they don't abandon that completely. I want to see I want to see that side of her again, because that let's be honest, that's what we all fell in love with. Like, I mean, when she came out and we got the Agatha All Along theme song, and I killed Sparky too, we all just were like, this is the greatest thing I've seen on
Mhm.
TV in years. So,
Sure. I think,
wondered if
they have.
maybe.
Go
Go
ahead. Go
ahead.
ahead. No, I
I
was
was
just a
just gonna.
quick thing. They have Aubrey Plaza as the villain. I think it's going to be funny. Don't worry about that,
Yeah, she was one of the names I had heard mentioned with the show, Aubrey Plaza. I'm wondering if maybe that is just a marketing technique because some of the complaints about their recent output is that it is too jokey. Thor
Mm,
4, for example,
very
whatever that
true,
was called,
Dan.
got Love and Thunder, whatever. And that was certainly one of my complaints with Thor, Love and Thunder. So maybe the show itself will be more comedic than they're letting on. Again, I didn't see the trailer, but that would make sense to me from a marketing perspective that maybe they're distancing themselves a little bit from that.
maybe I don't know. I love the sense of humor that they bring to like I love like Thor 4 is my favorite Thor movie, and part of the reason I love it is because of the humor. And I don't know. The funny thing is that's worked so well for them for so long, and now you hear people complaining about it, and it's like I almost wonder, is it a real complaint or is it just the interneting?
I can tell you it's a real complaint from me. That's one of the
Okay.
reasons I thought Thor 4 was the worst of the Thor movies. I thought they leaned way too much into the levity of it all, uh, and the recurring gags and everything.
Mm.
Like Deadpool is a gag, hero. Thor, not so much. And we got a bit of that in the third one, which I thought was the perfect amount. And then 4, I just think Taika Waititi just went off the deep end with it. So I can tell you personally that is a real complaint from me.
Okay. All right.
Although Thor 2 was very bad, so I can that's probably up there
Yeah,
as well.
I think I think Dan's on the money where because I also have had a problem with some of the marketing as well that I feel that could be it's getting addressed. There was like this I could see the horror element, I felt there was also this whimsical, almost Harry like it felt Harry Potterish to be honest, where it's like Harry Potter could do the dark stuff, like it's like a mix of that. Like there's some key visuals there that made me feel Harry Potter. In terms of Agatha is going to be the lead, right? And she has to kind of play like a hero role. So I could see where Joe's coming from, where maybe the comedic element will be diminished because she has to take things a little more serious as the lead with whatever plot devices are thrown at her. It's like you have to take it kind of serious. But I'm sure within that, I could already see Marvel playing with the fact that she did kill a dog in the last one. Like they're going to be making jokes that she's not supposed to be a hero or whatever of the story or something like that. Within like, oh, you're not, oh, like we're like the good guys, right? And she's doing something messed up. Like I could totally see that happening. But yeah, the marketing, especially after the Marvels, I felt like I didn't even go to the theater to see that because I didn't like the trailer at all. I ended up enjoying the movie when I eventually saw it, but that was another thing that I had a critique of. Outside of the visuals, the marketing hasn't been as.
You bring up marketing, and this wasn't on my list of things to discuss, but I want to segue into something on marketing because it's something worth talking about. Uh, Before we get to that, though, just to stay on topic with Agatha, one thing I noticed in the trailer that I don't hear people talking about is Deborah Jo Rupp, that 70s shows that Kitty from that 70s show. She was obviously in WandaVision as one of the townspeople, but we didn't get any indications she was a witch. She just looked like she was one of the townspeople who had her mind wiped in that show. And now she looks like she's part of Agatha's coven. Was she a witch this whole time and we didn't know it? Or do you think they just were like, oh, she's a name. Let's get her. That people know her. People grew up on that 70s show. We got to.
Who was she in WandaVision?
She was one of the townspeople.
Okay, well, think about this. What if she wants revenge on Wanda and Agatha, and that's why she's going with Agatha?
Oh, maybe. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine, again, not seeing the trailer, I would imagine that will be explained in an early episode. But Joe, I think you're right because she is not only from that 70s show, but of course that 90s show is back for season 2 on Netflix this week. So, maybe right, they're just kind of, hey, let's definitely get her in the trailer to make sure people, have one more person to recognize.
I was just thinking, I didn't even think about this until we started talking about it, but you know, it's kind of a Parks and Rec reunion because you got Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn back together.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot they were. Yeah,
Yeah, she was great as the like the spin doctor or whatever on the campaigns.
that was a great show.
Maybe
Yeah,
Star-Lord shows up.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah,
make it happen.
Right,
Make it
the
happen.
true Parks and Recs reunion.
Okay, so I was going to tell you about the marketing. You bring up marketing, and one thing I keep hearing over the course of the past year and a half, 2 years, is bad marketing. Bad marketing. I keep hearing bad marketing all over and over. Starting with Shazam 2. Shazam 2 was the first movie I kept hearing bad marketing. And I go to the movies a lot. I'm at the movies usually once a week. And I know because Shazam 2 kept getting delayed. Delayed. It went for months. And I feel like for close to a year, every single time I went to the movies, every time I saw a Shazam 2 trailer. Then the movie comes out, bombs. I heard people say bad marketing. I'm like, what are you talking about? That trailer has been playing on every damn movie for a year. Then it occurred to me, what is good marketing today? Because if you don't go to the movies, if you don't go to the theater, you're not going to see a trailer in the movie theater. Mm-hmm. If we're all streaming, I mean, I know they're pushing heavily into commercials on streaming now. Netflix has commercials, Disney Plus has commercials, but for a long time we didn't have commercials. So if we don't have commercials on our television anymore, we're not going to see these ads on TV. How do you market a movie now?
Well, I wanted to be a little more specific when I say bad marketing. When I say bad marketing, I'm saying the trailers themselves need almost to be looked at differently. I think audiences nowadays, me included, are accustomed to like the same type. Like there hasn't been an evolution from like, here's a pop song, we're going to do the slow version in the trailer, and you hear like the song. Like it's been the same thing for like years. Before that, it was the bwomp, and it's like now with like the Marvels, and you hear Intergalactic Beastie Boys, it's just like it's kind of becoming a turnoff. It's like that's this movie, and that's the song they're going to choose. I think there needs to be a new sort of, because I'm not into marketing. I don't know what it is, but I know that when I see these trailers and I'm seeing like a pop song play and they do like a remix, or they do a remix of the old song, like it's just not, it's not new anymore. It used to be like cool and fresh, but to me nowadays it just feels like, oh man, it feels very old and tired. It feels old and tired. I think there needs to be a new trend. I don't know what's going on, because I think horror trailers, they're still doing basically the same thing from like 2009, right? And they haven't needed to readjust whatsoever, and they still get asses in seats. So I could be wrong. Wrong.
You know what kind of trailer they've totally abandoned? And I didn't even notice they abandoned it until I went back and watched old trailers, and I'm like, oh crap, you don't see this anymore.
The voice.
They got rid of the narrator. Mm-hmm. We used to joke about the inner world guy, but it was, you don't so much see the trailer. I always remember the Stallone Daylight. There are two ways out of the city: the bridge or the tunnel. We're advising you to not take the tunnel.
I'll go farther than that. Remember when there used to be teasers for stuff that wouldn't even show up in the movie, and you almost knew it wasn't going to show up in the movie? We've like Terminator, like the Terminator 2, they had like the machine being built. That was never going to be in the movie. Like they made teasers outside of the movie, back in the day. They don't do that anymore. Now it's just like, if you get a teaser, you're going to get actual shots from the movie.
Yeah. But they do put scenes in there that eventually get cut from the movie too, because we didn't get, speaking of Shazam 2, one of my favorite moments in Shazam 2 did not make it to the final film. And that was I just threw a car at a dragon. I love my life. Like, I loved that line. It wasn't even in the movie. But
yeah, the narrator thing, I feel like the narrator trope of the trailer has been replaced by actually, or maybe looking at it this way, if they get the character to talk about the trailer. You know what I'm saying? Like they sort of do it like in a Madam Web style thing, but do it good.
Guess who just joined us?
There
Noah's
are a lot
here.
of movies now. Oh, hi, Noah.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello.
Hey Noah, is Kyle joining us tonight? We haven't gotten Kyle in here yet. I've
he
invited
is
him
not.
every week. One of these days,
he-
man. One of these days.
He actually goes to bed pretty early,
Okay.
just because of work in the morning, which is fine.
I get that. I can't go. I can't stream until everyone goes to bed. So,
Yeah.
but what were you saying, Perp? You were saying about the
Well,
Yeah, like voiceovers, I feel have taken like in terms of character voiceovers and stuff have taken over. It's like my name's Jimmy. I'm you know, like in like the comedy,
true.
the comedy
Well, and
action
I was
hijink
thinking
or something.
too, to key off that, I feel like maybe just movies in general have more character narrations in them, so it's easier to just lift them,
Mhm.
you know, from the movie or from the B-roll or whatever. And yeah, because you're right, I do notice that a lot. Joe, you bring up a good point though about how to market, because like I said, I really don't like to watch trailers, and it's pretty easy for me not to do that because I go to the theater about 28 minutes after the showtime starts, and then I get there for the movie and miss all the trailers. And other than, I mean, I do have commercials on my Hulu and on my HBO, but HBO commercials on Max are like 15 seconds. They're not trailers. It's just a quick plug for whatever the hell. But Hulu has like real commercials. So sometimes I will see, like I've seen the preview for Fly Me to the Moon a bunch of times, you know, to talk about a current movie. And the Despicable Me 4 trailer, I've seen a bunch. But like the 30-second version, you know, from that. But yeah, like I don't watch live TV for the most part. So I don't see trailers there. So yeah, I feel like unless you're actually going to the theater or you know read online, you know, industry variety type stuff, how do you even know movies are coming out? Really,
yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, I think we're
it's a good
movie
question.
buffs. We got our finger on the pulse because we're
Right.
movie buffs. But even me, like earlier this year in January, the movie ISS opened up. That came out of nowhere. Like
Yeah.
I'm following this stuff, and I never heard of that
I had
movie.
never heard of it until the week it came out.
Nope. And I love the lead star. And even I didn't know. She's one of the best new talents in Hollywood that was underseen for many, many years, besides on Broadway. And even I didn't know ISS was coming out.
I love that movie, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw it. I know nobody saw
I
it in the
haven't seen
theater,
it.
but it's really good.
No, who is the woman that's in it?
That's Ariana DeBose.
Oh, okay, sure. West Side Story.
Yep.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
you
Yeah,
know,
I didn't get to see that one.
Speaking of Broadway,
It's really good.
Speaking of Broadway and marketing, a couple months ago, I went to see Back to the Future, the musical on Broadway, and I'm standing in Times Square, and everywhere I looked, all around me in Times Square, ads for the Fall Guy, just everywhere. And and then I hear somebody say, "Well, the Fall Guy failed because there was no advertising," and I'm like, "Well, not that everybody's standing in the middle of Times Square, granted, but I'm like, it seemed like they were not sparing any money on advertising for that film."
Yeah, I
No.
agree. I saw tons of ads for it, and the two of them love to promote. I mean, you know, Ryan Gosling was on every talk show that would have him, and Emily Blunt. You know, she's a
This
great
is
talk show
also
guest as well.
it's very strange because there's a Ryan Gosling after he like was nominated for Barbie, an Academy
Right.
Award, like which he stole the show from, like, you know, so you'd figured he'd be
Yeah.
hot and people want to see what his next project was. Again, maybe it has something to do with the trailer having that freaking pop song playing. Like it's just like, oh guys, we've seen this dozens of times. I think marketing from that standpoint, they need to do something else. They need to think of something else. There needs to be a new trend.
Now, I'm probably only speaking for like myself, Dan, our friend Degrassi Knowles, and maybe that junk man when I say this. But when I saw the trailer for Fall Guy, I was disappointed that they were going with like Bon Jovi and not the unknown stuntman. I'm like, you're doing the Fall Guy, you're not going to play the unknown stuntman? That's like the theme from the show.
I thought the whole thing of the Fall, not to go off on a Fall Guy tangent, but that's a weird one because I mean, it was a show, and it was, I guess, a mildly successful show. It ran 5 or 6 years or whatever. But I've never seen a second of that show, and you know I'm a huge like TV buff.
Really?
It
Okay.
didn't really do reruns. I didn't even really know the premise. So
See, I used to watch it on Fox 29, like on the afternoons, like summer
okay.
afternoons. On
I was probably watching Fat Albert or something. Um, if I know me. So yeah, that was a weird property to adapt and call it the Fall Guy. I mean, it had the loosest of connections. They should have just called it something else.
Yeah, it was in the Hollywood blacklist, which is like
Oh
that
yeah.
yeah, it's been in there for like years. So I guess it's just like,
Okay.
oh, let's pick it up now. Now let's do
As
it.
a Fall Guy movie or just
Yeah,
as
as the
this is
Fall Guy
script?
movie. Yeah.
Okay.
I could have sworn I saw it because I was checking out all the lists from every year, and I could have sworn it was even in 2008. Like they've been trying to get, and finally, I
Wow.
guess they got Gosling and the director from Bullet Train. It's like, yeah, that's what you need to package that movie to
Right.
get it out there.
I should take a moment and plug if you're in the Philadelphia area or anywhere within driving distance of the Philadelphia area and you love the Fall Guy, then you should come out in September 7th and 8th to I'm sorry, I'm getting lost in my own screens here. You should come out to Oaks, Pennsylvania to RetroCon, where you can meet Lee Majors.
Lee Majors.
Yeah, there he is. The
I
Fall
worked with
Guy.
him.
Wow.
You did. You worked with
He
him
was
on Evil
yeah,
Dead.
and Evil Dead. He was in my episode. He was the dad. Had to do the whole fight scene with Ash versus Lee Majors. Yeah, he's an absolute treat.
So there you go. I'll tell him you said that when I see him in a couple months.
Nice.
Who else is going to be there?
Well, Lindsay Wagner. You can meet both
Okay.
of the Bionics. They're
I was
both
going
going
to
to be
say
there.
she was the Bionic Woman, that's for sure.
Donnie Most.
Love him.
Oh, Donnie Most.
Ralph
Anson.
Malph.
Yes, Anson. I almost said Anson Mount, not Anson Mount. Anson Williams.
Okay.
If you go looking for Captain Pike, you're going to be disappointed, but you'll get a Potsy.
Wow, love that.
Well, Donnie's a good friend of mine. I talk to him quite often. He's a very nice dude.
Really
Sweet
That's
guy.
awesome.
Yeah. I've talked to him. He asked me, could I do a review of his 2 movies? And I went, sure. Still gotta do them. But he asked me, would you do them? And I'm like, sure. And then out of nowhere, the fan went, I gotta ask for his autograph. I have him right now. I gotta ask for an autograph. So he was so kind and sent me 4 instead of just 1.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And I went, wow. He's a really sweet guy. Just he loves his jazz music now. He's a great singer now too.
Yeah, and from what I understand, he goes by Donnie Most when he's singing and Don Most when he's acting.
Yes.
I think that's the way he breaks it down. So. Monkey Man in the house. I love the monkeys. Agatha trailer was a great horror movie tribute trailer. All right. Next thing I had on the agenda. Do we have anything else to say about marketing or Agatha? But I don't want to move on if you guys, I don't want to drag you out of the topic if you're not ready to be dragged out. So, next thing I had, the movie If. John Krasinski's If. Is coming to television. It debuts on Paramount Plus tomorrow. So if you have Paramount Plus tomorrow, you can watch John Krasinski's latest film. If I did not do a review of it on the channel, it was it kind of came out at a time when I was thinking about quitting doing this whole YouTube thing. So I skipped that movie. Didn't skip watching it, but skipped reviewing it. Let me tell you, it is one of the best films I've seen all year. I think it's a totally magical film that it's going to be one for the ages, like a Willy Wonka. I think generations are going to fall in love with this movie. I can't say enough great things about it. Have you guys seen If?
Yes, it's currently my second favorite movie of the year. My second favorite film of the year, right behind Dune.
I am in the minority here. I really did not care for it. And it's a shame because I was really looking forward to it. And I actually hope that people do watch it because I would love to see a sequel with some of the things I felt like this one was missing. Because I thought the world building could have been way better. It's been 2 months since I've seen it, so I can't remember all of my criticisms specifically. But I ended up giving it a C or a C plus. I thought it was very, very disappointing. But I love the idea. I love the concept. I loved a lot of things about it. So I hope people watch it and it gets a sequel, because I would like to see more within that world. So I'm glad you guys liked it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
As much as I loved it, I actually don't think I'd want to see a sequel. I think this is kind of one I'd like to see sit
Really?
as just I don't know. I don't want to give away anything that happens at the ending, but to me it felt finite, or it felt that way to me. Obviously if there's money in it, there's going to be a sequel. But
yeah, I mean, it definitely plays that way, but I think there's a lot of different avenues you could take it in, I guess.
Mhm.
Maybe not focusing on some of the same characters, but more in that universe.
the one thing I want to say about If to anyone who hasn't seen it is it looks like it's a children's movie. And I took the kids to see it. It's definitely family friendly. You can take the whole family to see this movie. And I took the whole family, wife and a 16-year-old and an 8-year-old. And I'll tell you, the people who came out and were affected by it the most were my wife and I, not the kids. Because to me, this movie is a movie for people who were kids and lost that sense of innocence and lost that sense of wonder. And it's about getting it back again. It's about regaining it. And we both walked out. My wife and I, we were both a mess walking out of that movie. We had tears in our eyes. We were.
I love that, because that was actually one of my criticisms about it, is that I wasn't positive who this was for. And to bring it back to the marketing again, it looked like it was a kids movie. And I had talked about taking my nephew to it. And I think if I had taken my 13-year-old nephew to it, he would have been bored. And so maybe that's more of a marketing issue than a film issue, but to kind of tie it all in. But yeah, it definitely had some emotional notes that I think kids would not appreciate. But like you said, it's a family friendly movie, but I think maybe just things got a little too heavy in spots.
I can tell you, my kids did enjoy it.
Okay.
However, my good friend, who Dan, Dave Perillo.
Of course.
Dave Perillo, his kids did not like it. They were bored by it. So yeah, I guess with the kids, your mileage will vary, but
right.
I would definitely recommend it to the adults. I think that, to me, this is one I can't recommend enough. But again, and this is I love when we get difference of opinions. That's wonderful.
Me too.
It's we should be meaner with each other, like Siskel and Ebert. Like I should be like you could call me. You could be you're thinner than me. You could be Siskel and call me a big fatso or something. I don't know.
Hey, I will just say this. My favorite quote that either one of them did is when I believe it was Gene said, was it Leonardo DiCaprio? He's hunky. He is hunky.
Hey, he wasn't wrong.
I always loved when they were on Letterman and they were talking about the movies that had come out that summer, and they talked about Free Willy. Dan, I bet you remember this. You remember the Free Willy review, don't you?
Free Willy fanatic. I saw it 3 times in the theater.
But do you remember the Siskel and Ebert review on Letterman?
I don't.
They Letterman asked them what they thought of Free Willy, and Gene hated it, and Roger liked it, and Gene said, "You just related to the whale."
Oh, wow! Now that you say that, I do remember that remark. But wow.
Lisa's here. Lisa says, "I saw If. It was interesting and pulled at the heartstrings, but I do agree with Dan. Great idea and concept, but I don't know. Maybe I need to watch it again." Yes, I think it was more for a mature mind. So what we've learned here is that Lisa and Dan don't have a soul. Oh, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
No, but listen, I'm with Lisa. If it's going to be on Paramount Plus, I might watch it again in the next month or two, and then see if my thoughts change. I will say it had one of the better musical for a non-musical movie. It had one of the great musical interludes of all, which I don't want to give away, but Pat Benatar, I think, was the song. Or no, it was it Tina Turner? Now I'm forgetting what the song was.
Oh no, I remember now. Okay,
What was it?
It was Tina Turner.
It was Tina Turner, right?
Tina
I
Turner.
forgot about that scene until you mentioned it. Like that.
GoldenEye.
You know what scene got me the most? And by the way, I'm teasing Dan and Lisa. For anyone who doesn't know, I love Lisa. Lisa's great.
I don't know Lisa, but I like her taste in movies.
Lisa's the best. I've been to her house. I've hung out with her. She is top notch people.
Nice.
But the scene that got me, the one that really affected me, was the guy from Saturday Night Live, the skeleton, the dancing skeleton with what's his name? You know, the David Pumpkins. He had the two skeletons. It was one of the skeletons.
Oh yeah, Bobby Moynihan.
Yes, Bobby Moynihan. I found his scene in The Office, like that scene. It just, man, yeah, no, that scene.
Yeah, that was a good part, for sure.
Mine, it was the big scene, which I did call. I saw it coming a mile away, but
Yeah.
it was also the very end with the older lady. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
That's what hit me the hardest. But I remember in my theater, it was me and my girlfriend and maybe 10 other people. I leaned over to her and I'm like, I wonder if it's this. And she nudges me and she goes, I'm gonna be so pissed if you're right. And as soon as it happened, she goes, I hate you. And then she just ugly cried.
I had a moment like that with a different movie, and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to lead people down the path so that like I don't say what it is, but they are able to put two and two together and go, oh, based on what they're saying, I can blah blah blah. But yeah, no, I didn't get that with this one. But there was another movie that had a similar kind of ending where I saw it, and I'm like, oh, I bet this is the thing, and then I kind of wished I didn't know. But and you know, Perp, you and I have talked a lot this year about favorite movies so far this year, and I've said consistently, I saw the TV Glow.
Mm-hmm.
I've said Late Night with the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
They are two of my favorites. If is the movie that I forget about until I think about it, and then I go, damn, that's right up there.
Above Argyle.
I love Argyle too, but you know what? Argyle was just fun. Argyle, I enjoyed that. Argyle was a fun ride, and it made me laugh from start to finish, and I really enjoyed it. But it didn't move me like If did. So I think the two movies this year that got me emotionally the strongest were TV Glow and If. So there you go. And by the way, I saw the TV Glow is available for digital streaming and purchase now. So anyone who hasn't seen that,
I still got to watch that one.
Dan, I think you're really going to like it. I think you're really going to like it.
We talked about that a few weeks ago, and I haven't gotten around to it yet. I did love Late Night with the Devil, though.
TV Glow, people love it or hate it. Dave Perillo hated it. So it's one of those ones, but I think you're going to like it.
Okay.
Noah, I don't know.
Is it? Well, with me, it's just the price. If it's still $20, I'm gonna wait until it's like $6 and then rent it.
I have a feeling because it's $25 to buy it now digitally. If you want to buy it, it's $25. So I have a feeling when the DVD comes out, it's going to drop to $9.99 because that's usually what seems. And I don't know. I always go for the buy. If it's buy or rent, like I always go for the buy because I'm like it's like 20 to rent it and 25 to buy it. So
yeah.
But all right, what else did I have listed? Oh, the box office. I went to see Maxine the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie, by the way. I loved Maxine. But I was so excited to see that my movie theater was packed with cars. Parking was tight. And I'm like, God, when did I see this last? And a few months ago, we were talking about, oh, the box office is dying. Look at what happened with The Fall Guy. Look at Furiosa. But ever since then, we've had Inside Out. We've had Bad Boys. We've had Despicable Me. Maxine's doing quite well right now. And it's just been like,
The eighth
bam,
did pretty
bam,
well.
bam. Yeah, one after another. It's like, what do you think's changed? I know the easy answer people say is, well, we always hear people go, oh, you just got to make good movies. And I'm always like, no, I got to call BS on that, because a lot of times these are good movies. You just didn't go see them. Like Fall Guy, look at the reviews for Fall Guy. Everyone who saw it loved it. Nobody went to see it.
What I think happened, in all honesty, is it's the franchises that hit big with the families. With Inside Out 2, it was the third or fourth most streamed movie on all of streaming for 2 years in a row. It's that, but also you want a good time with your family. And with the family films, I'm sorry, a lot of the family films haven't been all that good. And if they're geared towards kids, but all the adults know it's for them as well, like with a bad, that's a bad example, but say with like a, try not to say Inside Out 2. With that
What
one,
about the
right?
Garfield movie? How about that?
Yeah, there you go. There.
That's respectable too. Yeah.
No kids know who he is now. That's more for them introducing that character to him, to all the kids now. But with Inside Out 2, those kids saw that movie now, and they might have kids now. They might be old enough to have those kids. With the Minions movies, those came out when I was 12, and those kids now are my age and have kids, so they show them. It's a ever-growing thing with franchises that keep on growing. I saw,
especially with the kids franchises.
Mm-hmm. And
like you said, because
all
look at the Puss in Boots last year.
Uh-huh.
Obviously everybody that watched the Shrek movies when they were 6 now have kids of their own.
Well, that's
exactly.
That's one thing I kept saying. I don't know how many of you ever watched the John Campea show, but going into Garfield, he kept saying, who's this for? Why did they make Garfield? Today's kids don't know Garfield. And why are they making this? This is a terrible decision. And I kept yelling at my screen. They're making it because that's how you keep an IP relevant. Of course, the kids don't know who he is. They're not going to know who he is unless you introduce them. But you know who does know? The parents. And the parents are going to go. And I go back to the Chipmunk movie from 2008. No kids in 2008 knew who the Chipmunks were, but their parents did. That movie was a huge hit.
I was thinking the Jason Segel Muppet movie, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Peanuts.
Absolutely. And the Peanuts a few years ago as well. Absolutely.
But I guarantee all these kids today know who Garfield is now because that movie. Even if they didn't see it, they saw the commercials, they saw the marketing. They know Garfield now. It'll be streaming on Netflix because it's a Sony movie, so it'll go to Netflix in 6 months. They're all going to have seen it.
Well, and I think to get back to the box office conversation about like sort of the last few weeks or month or whatever, I think it's not just that Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me have sort of built-in fan bases, but I think Noah hit it. I mean, the last few Disney and Pixar movies haven't been that good. I mean, Strange World, I didn't think was that good, and the marketing seemed weird for it.
Not to nitpick with you, but that actually wasn't a Pixar movie. That was
it was a Disney movie. I said Pixar. I said Pixar and Disney.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the last few Pixars weren't that great either, but they also weren't in theaters. I mean, other than Lightyear, this is the first Pixar movie in theaters.
I don't know that I'm going to agree with that though, because
years, right?
I think one of the best Pixar movies was I loved Turning Red. Now it wasn't in theaters; it should have been. I think it should have been.
But that's the thing; we don't know how it would have done because it wasn't in theaters.
Right.
Exactly.
So, and I think thank you Disney during the pandemic that we got used to. Oh well, I don't have to spend $70 to take my kids to the movies because I can just watch everything on Disney Plus, and if it's not on there, it will be on there in 3 weeks. And luckily that has slowed down where it takes a few months now for something to go on Disney Plus. Because Bad Boys did great and that was good, but it's still going to be the family friendly movies that are driving the box office.
But I'll tell you something else that, and Perp knows this as well as me because we've been on streams where this has been a topic of conversation for the past year. Anytime two movies get announced for the same months, you hear people go, "Oh, well, no one's going to see that because, like, you can't open a Superman and a Jurassic Park in the same month because one's going to kill the other." And I always said, "Why? That wasn't the case before. Before you could open a movie every week and people go, oh, well, the market's changed." Well, this summer, it looks like the market's changing back to the way it was because all these movies are opening in July and they're all doing fine. It's not like people are going, well, Despicable Me failed because everybody went to see Inside Out. No, they're going to see them both.
Exactly.
So I feel like we're back to where we were pre-pandemic when you could open more than one big movie in a month. I don't know if this is just a phenomenon for the month of July and it's going to die out in August. I don't know, but
No, but is it the Barbenheimer effect of last summer? I mean, obviously a lot of people saw two movies sometimes in the same day last July. And, did that get people back to thinking of, oh, I enjoy going to the theater. I forgot how much I liked it. And maybe in the fall and the spring, they're busy with work. They're busy with their lives. But it's summer. Kids are out of school. And so now's the time. I mean, is that something?
What I think is really going to say how this goes is with Wicked and Moana 2. That is going to be the telltale sign for all of this. They were going to open on the same exact day, right? But the Wicked people knew if they opened, they might have been killed because you're going after the same audience,
right?
But you have a different type of crowd for the Oz land, right? Everybody will go and see that on their own thing. With Disney, that Moana movie, it might be 8 years old, going on 10 years old. That movie's still huge. Everybody still loves it. All the kids are still watching it.
It was the #1 streamed movie last year, I think they said.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Let me tell you,
sign.
I've heard people criticize Iger for leaning into IPs. I've heard people be like, "Oh, it's all sequels now." I think he's doing the right thing to get butts in seats. He's got to build the habit back. He's got to get people back in the habit of going to the movies. And I think Frozen 3, Moana 2, Toy Story 5, you can criticize them, but these are the movies that are going to do it.
Mm-hmm. And if you want more original stuff, the sequels are what's going to give them the money to make original stuff, to maybe make more great IP and more great series, if you want that stuff.
And respectfully speaking, Monkey Man is a sick individual. He wants a new Garbage Pail Kids movie. I'm teasing Monkey Man, but God, that Garbage Pail Kids movie is one of them.
But no, I have a point because Wicked and Moana are both kind of similar audiences. I mean, it's going to be, younger girls and families, I think, for kind of both of those movies. It's different when they open the one Star Wars movie against Alvin and the Chipmunks. Okay, those are two slightly different fan bases, and they both did okay. Obviously, the Star Wars one did great. Alvin and the Chipmunks still did okay, but yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly what it is. You create the habit, and that's why probably Despicable Me did so well. Everybody went to Inside Out 2 weeks ago, and the kids are like, "Hey, let's go back to the movies again." I mean, it's sometimes it just takes one or two movies to kind of create that habit again.
By the way, RJ, just come in. Come on in. You're on the team. Just come on in. We can talk about Inside Out too. Just come on in.
Yeah, I'll talk about Inside Out too.
Yeah, bring it on in.
I'll mention quickly a movie that I wish they put in theaters is the new Beverly Hills Cop. I hate that premiered on Netflix. I've never seen any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies in theaters. It would have been really fun to see that with a big Friday night raucous crowd. And instead I watched it on my phone.
I gotta tell you, I'm not a huge Beverly Hills Cop guy. I've never been huge on the Beverly Hills Cop movies, but I can relate because one movie that I waited for years and years and years was Bill and Ted 3. I desperately wanted a Bill and Ted 3.
Yeah.
And then it came out, and I was fortunate. I got to see it in the theater. My local theater, Water Tower Cinema, was showing it on the big screen. But
Wow.
most people experienced that movie on television. And
Right.
I was like, I would have been so bummed out if I waited for years. Because to me, when these movies debut on TV, and maybe it's just our generation, because Dan, you and I might be the oldest ones here. Maybe it's our generation, but to me, made for TV movies are lesser films. The direct to video is the lesser film. Like,
Right.
when you got like Dark Man 2 direct to DVD,
Right.
that was we don't have any faith that anyone's going to go see this, so we'll put it out on VHS.
And historically, that's been the case.
Right.
But
So
now you have, Hitman
Yeah.
debuting on Netflix, which also would have been a great theater experience.
That should have gone straight to theaters, and it would have done big money. Big money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and look at Paramount got smart for the one smart thing they ever did by putting Mean Girls in theaters, because that was supposed to be a Paramount Plus original. They had great test screenings for it, and they said, maybe, and it made like $80 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's one that I wanted to see, but let me just say this. I'm a rom-com guy, and it's a family affair. That would have been a great film for dates.
Yeah.
With a slower week. And look at what anyone but you did. That nobody had any faith in that film whatsoever. That would have been a decent cast, big name stars that draw in crowds with a likable story. What was the film great for everybody? No, I liked it way more than anybody else did, but that's
I had
just
a
me.
lot of fun with it. I thought it was a great movie, and I saw it in theaters on like a Monday afternoon. So I think it was me and like 3 other people in the theater. But yes, to see that like with a big crowd and people laughing and everything, I miss that experience because most of the comedies today don't go into theaters.
Dan, you bring up something that I've talked about this before on another stream, but it's been said that people want to go to the movies. They want the big event movies. They want special effects. They want the big sci-fi, the big superhero. That's what they want on the big screen. A comedy you can wait to stream at home. And I've always said it's actually better. The comedy films of all the movies, comedies are the ones that should be experienced on the big screen because laughter is contagious. And I remember as a kid when we went to see movies like The Naked Gun or There's Something About Mary. I remember being in these packed theaters watching that and laughing with all those people. It's not the same in your home.
I loved getting to see No Hard Feelings in the theater. It wasn't packed, but there were maybe 20 some people in the theater, and I don't know if anybody here has seen that, but
I saw it in the
ended up
theater.
being a big hit on Netflix, 6 months later.
Yeah.
But
Love it.
I loved the energy of being in that theater for a hilarious movie.
I loved the movie and I saw it in the theater. I just wish my theater had more energy because I saw it in an empty theater.
My favorite thing of 2018 was seeing this movie right here in theaters. The Blockers.
Oh, Blockers,
my theater was insane. During the Gary scene where he's completely nude, they went completely ballistic, screaming and laughing and howling. Things were thrown. The greatest time I've ever had in a movie theater with any comedy is with that film, only because the crowd was so into it, which made my experience much better. And that's what all the comedies need.
I saw Forgetting Sarah Marshall in a packed theater, and it was, I don't know if it was opening weekend, but people had not really heard yet about all the full frontal nudity. And I mean, people were howling, and that is such a great movie.
The Dewey Cox story. Walk
Dewey
Hard,
Cox,
the Dewey Cox story.
Yeah. I miss, well, and they generally don't make, the third era of the R-rated comedy is kind of over for now. But you know, in the 2010s when there was a new R-rated comedy every other week, I mean, it was great. They weren't all great movies, but it was great to see in a packed house with a crowd that wanted to laugh.
I got to point out about Blockers. I watched Blockers at home on Blu-ray. I didn't see it in the theater, and I go to Dragon Con every year, or I try to go every year. And you know, Dragon Con takes place in Atlanta, and it takes place in 5 different hotels. It's a huge convention. 5 hotels hold Dragon Con, and I'm watching Blockers, and we get to the final scene where the kids are going to check into a hotel, and the parents are trying to get there to stop them, and they run into the hotel, and I just went, "Oh my God, they're at the Atlanta." What I'm blanking on the name now. It's one of the host hotels for Dragon Con. I'm in that hotel every September, and I'm like, oh, they're at the Hyatt. They're at the Atlanta Hyatt.
That's so cool.
So
should we talk about Inside Out 2? Because your friend on there said what were our thoughts on Inside Out 2?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we didn't lose Perp.
Hi.
Poor Perp. I know. I'm sorry. We're dominating the
Oh,
conversation.
good. I'm listening. I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
I have nothing to add.
Have we all seen Inside Out 2?
No.
I don't think Perp has.
No.
Okay.
I liked it. I mean, I liked it a lot. I'm going to disagree with RJ, though. RJ said he thought it was better than the first one. I had one major problem with Inside Out 2. And I think it's a good movie. But my problem is I don't feel that Joy learned the lessons of the first movie. Like, I feel like she had growth in the first movie, and this movie pulled her back like she learned nothing. Because wasn't the whole point of the first movie that she's supposed to learn that they can't control Riley? Riley, they can't like we open, this isn't a spoiler, this is how the film opens, but we open with Joy taking unhappy memories and like slingshotting them to the back, like going, oh, Riley doesn't need this. And I'm like, I feel like all her character growth from the first movie was just like
I can agree with that.
Other than that, I like the movie.
I didn't think of that specific gripe, but I think that is definitely an interesting point. I liked the movie. I don't think it's better than the first one, but to be fair, I think Inside Out 1 is the only A+ Pixar movie since Toy Story 3. In the last 15 years, those are the only 2 A+ Pixar movies for me. So for me, I was a high bar. I gave Inside Out 2 an A-. I think there were a lot of great things about it. I think it's better than a lot of recent Pixar output. But yeah, I can't agree that it's better than the first one.
I have to say that it's my third favorite film of the entire year, and I think it is better than the first one. But because I just saw the first one for the first time a few years ago, and I didn't think it was all that good. This one, my biggest issue was the new emotions. A few of them had no character development whatsoever. No character development, except for maybe, well, the big one. But
Yeah.
say, what was that one that's always on the phone?
On
And
Wii?
you? Yeah, him. No character development, does nothing with it, and an unneeded character, except for one scene that is useless in my eyes anyways. But there's only 2 new emotions that get any growth whatsoever, and that is anxiety and embarrassment. They have enough growth for me to really attach to them, but everybody else had no character development whatsoever. I gave it an A. If you would have taken a few of the new emotions out, I think it would have been an A+.
I think that the just having them go into that other world again, and how they have to try and get back to headquarters again. It's very Finding Nemo, Finding Dory for me. They're sort of repeating themselves a little bit. But it's interesting you say that, Noah, that you did not see Inside Out originally because my brother, who took my nephew to go see it, same thing. He had seen the original the week before for the first time, and he also enjoyed the second one more. So, maybe if you don't have that attachment to the first one, I don't know. But for me, nothing was gonna compare. I think to the emotional impact of the Bing Bong portion of one. I think the second one did have some good emotional impact as well, but not to that level. So that's kind of
This
where I
one
am
hit.
on my A minus.
This one hit me more, just because of that. Spoilers, okay. The climax where everything goes completely crazy. That hit me so hard, and I was bawling in theaters. In all honesty, I bawled because that is so what happened to me multiple times at that age, where I just felt what she was going through and what everybody in her head was going through. So I think it might have been just maybe my age too, because I was like that when I was her age.
Mm.
But
Well,
I felt like this was a lot.
Yeah, I think that was a very,
Yeah.
very well written scene. Definitely the great emotional climax of the film. And I'm not disparaging the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Really, I mean, it's still an A minus. It's I have to look at all my movies for the year. It's definitely in my top 10 so far.
I do have a image here. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Disney put out a rough draft, a prelude to the original Inside Out back in the '90s. They tried the Inside Out concept back then.
Joe, I can always count on you for a early '90s Fox reference.
I've heard of it. I've never seen anything about
I mean,
that.
This
Joe,
was a great show.
Joe,
This was a great
anybody in
show.
our age demo, did we not think of Herman's Head immediately when Inside Out came
Yes,
out?
yes, we did. And answer me this: Disney owns Herman's Head. It was a Fox show. Disney owns it. How come this isn't streaming right now? They could be
That's
like
true.
tying with the popularity of Inside Out. They could be tying
Yeah.
this. Put this on Hulu, man.
Wow, the return of William Ragsdale.
This was a funny show.
It was a good show.
You know what? And here's the funny thing too, because I remember when this show debuted, I heard the premise and I said that is awful. And then I watched it and I'm like, I got to give it to him. The writing's pretty clever. I thought it was going to be horrible.
Yeah, it was a good show. 3 seasons.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it could have gone 2 more. That's probably why we don't see it. If it had lasted 5 seasons, I bet.
Yeah, 5 seasons was typically the magic number back then.
So, hey, Chad, how many of you watched Herman's Head? I'm curious. Oh, by the way, Dante wants to know: am I going to any cons other than RetroCon? Dragon Con. I'll be at Dragon Con Labor Day weekend, and I probably will not be going to Sesame Place anytime soon. My daughter kind of outgrew it, so we gave up our annual pass. Dante wants to know, Dan, did you see Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue yet?
Oh, no, I keep forgetting about that. Yes, Dante wants me to watch this Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue. I think, boy, I forget when he first even asked me that. It was a little while ago. Maybe when I reviewed the Garfield movie, but yes, I have to watch that because I'm sure I will remember it. This was Joe. Do you remember Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue?
Oh yeah, I just watched it recently. I just showed Kira.
Did you?
Yeah,
Damn it.
Kira.
All right, I gotta get on this. Dante, I'm gonna do it this week.
Kira loves all these old cartoons, and I kind of blew her mind when I showed her that one. I'm like, hey, look, here's everybody in the one show.
And it was all the networks combined, right?
Yeah, it was Disney,
like a PSA special or something.
Disney, Looney Tunes, Alf, Garfield, the Smurfs, the Chipmunks, the DuckTales were there. Everybody was there.
Yeah, I got to watch it.
And Monkey Man remembers Herman's Head. So there we go. Monkey Man may be the only person in the chat that remembers Herman's Head.
Very good.
Perp, do you want to talk to us about the movie that you are most There's a movie coming that you're just chomping at the bit for. That you're so excited.
Oh man, I am so hyped. Got my tickets. I got my tickets. Like, when do we get Long Legs tickets? 2 weeks ago, man. I am so excited for Long Legs. That has to be probably one of the best freaking trailers. When we talk about, like, when we're critiquing marketing, is like, look what Long Legs did. Look at their marketing scheme, how they did it. With, like, they released pictures first within a trailer, where it's just a trailer showing a bunch of pictures. It was like 30-second, like, little spot. And little by little, they released more information, more 30-second spot. And then it all added up to one giant trailer. Fantastic marketing. Fantastic marketing. They made it seem like you have to put the clues together. Really great. I can't wait to see Long Legs. I hear Nicolas Cage's performance is it's great. It's fine. Finally, his kind of acting style isn't being used for comedy or memes. It's actually being used to signify just horror, just absolute horror, and just in his style. I just want to see that, especially with this director who's more grounded, more into atmosphere. Just having that Nicolas Cage, and apparently he pulled it off. Whatever he did with Nicolas Cage, it's getting fantastic ratings. I believe it's still at 100% in the tomato meter right now. Not many reviews, of course, but every time I hear someone talking about Long Legs, they're saying it's one of the most incredible horror experiences they've had in a while, and it's definitely the horror movie of the year. So I can't even read any more about it. I can't, because I feel I'm going to get spoilers. I just need this thing right now. I need it right now. It's coming out Friday. I'm going to see it on Friday. I'm so excited for Long Legs.
All right.
That's very cool.
Is anyone else going to see it? I was being a little cagey the other day when you asked me, right? You were like, you going to see Long Legs? I was like, oh, maybe.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. It's not for everyone. I understand it's not for everyone.
Who are we kidding? In the movie every weekend. No, I'm probably seeing Long Legs.
Perp, I'm going to see it because it's the only thing that I'll have not seen next week, because I'm taking my nephews to see Despicable Me on Thursday, and I already saw Fly Me to the Moon at a preview show. So,
oh, you saw that one? How was that one?
It was okay. I gave it a B-.
Okay.
I think Scarlett Johansson will perhaps get a Golden Globe nomination for it, because I think she is excellent in it. But the romantic stuff between her and Channing, a little bit routine. But no, I thought it was good. Sure. But yeah, so Long Legs is the only thing at theaters coming Friday that I have not seen yet. So I will definitely watch it.
Monkey Man said he was great in the horror movie Mandy. Yeah, I loved Mandy. I absolutely loved Mandy. That guy has a new movie coming out pretty soon that I'm excited for.
Now, Perp, I do need to point out, Monkey Man spells his name with 2 E's. That means he is not referencing the Dev Patel film, but Davy Jones, Mickey Dolenz, Peter Tork, and Michael Nesmith.
That was a good one. You know what? You know what I saw recently too? I finally got to see the sequel to that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh God!
It was way better than the first one. I liked it. It had a crazy body count. I was surprised, and it was pretty. The production was good. I was pleasantly surprised. It's still like a bunch of CGI gore, which is like not a big no-no with horror guys, but it had enough of big body count that I was like, whatever. So I highly recommend Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey Part 2.
Dan, James Borland wants to know your favorite Nicktoon and Cartoon Network show. For him, it's Nicktoon, SpongeBob, and Ed, Edd n Eddy for Cartoon Network.
All right. Well, look, I'm a little older. So, I mean, and we didn't actually have cable very much growing up. We had it for a couple of years. So my Nicktoons go way back to like Doug, Ren and Stimpy, Real Monsters. I would say Doug is probably a favorite, but for the more recent stuff, I think the Loud House is pretty funny. My nephews were big into the Loud House, so I watched a lot of those. Cartoon Network, again, probably going a little older. I maybe Dexter's Lab.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dan, when you said I'm a little older, I thought you were going to say a very different show. Because I would say, at my age, 48, favorite Nicktoon, Danger Mouse.
Oh well, yeah, that's really going back.
Yeah, I'd go.
That's really going back. Yeah, Danger Mouse is okay, but no, I would say I prefer probably Rugrats over that, and Doug, and yeah, there's definitely some other ones I'd prefer. Danger Mouse was pretty good though. Yeah, Ed,
So,
Ed,
I
and
don't know.
Eddie, yeah, that was pretty good too. But yeah, Dexter's Lab, probably Powerpuff Girls is up there for me.
I mean that question.
Foster's Home, that was good.
Mhm.
The question was aimed at you, Dan, but Perp, no, you guys
Yeah, I
got
wanna hear from
answers for
everybody.
this?
Thank you for the question, by the way.
What was that? Man, I don't think so. I'm not really a Cartoon Network. Like, what were the shows there? Like back in the day, what was the most popular one?
The biggest one was probably when I was growing up. It was definitely Total Drama Island. That was
Never
the big
even
one.
heard of that. This wasn't the Red and Snoopy. This is
I
not
know
Red and
Total
Snoopy.
Drama Island. Kira binge watches it like crazy.
Oh my
I've
god.
That
never heard
was
of
the
it.
biggest
Yeah,
show.
I don't think this was my time, or I completely.
I don't think I
missed it.
know that one either.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon based on Survivor.
Yeah,
It's like
Oh, okay.
Survivor is a.
it's really good. For me, it's SpongeBob. The first 3 seasons are prime. But if I didn't have to choose SpongeBob, it would have to be the Fairly Odd Parents. That was one
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
specifically with the first 5 seasons until the baby Poof came in. Then Poof got really annoying, and the dog Sparky, that thing got super annoying. But for Cartoon Network, I have to go with probably Dexter's Lab or Johnny Bravo. Those were my shows. Or
Yeah.
a small obscure show that no one even talks about anymore, Mucha Lucha, with the Mexican wrestling school.
I don't know that.
That was a Spanish language. They bought it from Mexico, and it's about these kids who are wrestlers at a school, and how they handle all their problems is with fighting. And they basically wrestle each other, and they sometimes learn a lesson, but they're all fine each episode. So
I got to go real old school here. Where was it? I lost it. Oh, Monkey Man says his favorite Nick show was You Can't Do That on Television. I'm going to go even more obscure with that, and I know Dan knows what I'm talking about.
I know you're going to say.
Out of Control with Dave Coulier. By the way, Dan, I don't know if you saw this. Dave Coulier responded to a tweet the other day. Did I send you this?
No, I didn't know
I
this.
tweeted at Dave Coulier and I just said, hey, do you know the song Burpin' Chili Man? And he responded, yes, I used to sing that on Out of Control.
Wow. That's awesome.
I was a Disney Channel kid, so my cartoons were more of like a Dave the Barbarian, Recess, but my favorite was this weird little show called Brandy and Mr. Whiskers.
I don't know that one.
That's about a dog and a bunny rabbit stuck in the jungle. Their plane completely crashes, and they're stuck in the jungle. And it's just the misadventures of them living there, and the dog is super rich, very famous, and that rabbit is dirty, fleas, and just completely nasty. It was a completely stupid show. I loved every minute of it.
That's very Gilligan's Island.
They steal some of those episodes straight from there too. So.
Okay.
Guys, if you can indulge me for just a moment here, I am going to present to you one of my favorite scenes from the TV show Out of Control. This was something that I couldn't find for years, and I kept trying to find this. It wasn't streaming anywhere. You couldn't. This one clip. There were certain episodes on YouTube, never this episode. And it was finally provided to me by one of the cast members. I interviewed Jill Wakewood, who played Angela Scoop Quigley on the show, and she was able to go to her own tapes and send me this clip from Out of
Wow.
Control.
I remember that interview you did with her.
This is the song, There's a Lot of Big Things in This Really Big World.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of stuff
Can you hear that?
in this really big world, really big stuff. And I'd like to sing you a song about it. Well, there's a lot of big things in this really big world, and a lot of things just look big. A lot of big things you can eat and smell and stuff you can see from the car, like your elephant, buffalo, pelican, whale, duck, fish, hen, shell, or alligator, snake, dinosaur, elephant, buffalo, pelican, whale. Well, there's a lot of big things in this really big world, and a lot of things just look big. A lot of big things you can eat and smell and stuff you can eat in the car, like your orange, artichoke, peach, and cheese, tomato, donut, and a hot dog with some ketchup and mustard on it. A bulldozer, a boot, and a hat, and a great big pair of shoes. A milk bottle, and a really big boat, and a mortar and pestle too. A covered wagon, Noah's Ark, and a Noah's Ark, and a Noah's Ark, and a Noah's Ark. Oh, that was one. Well, how about a cup of coffee? You can't drink too much coffee when you're driving on the road, looking at all the really big things in this really big world. A lot of things just look big. There's a lot of big things you can eat and smell and stuff you can see from the car, like your elephant, buffalo, pelican, whale, duck, fish, hen, shell, seahorse, alligator, snake, and dinosaur, orange, artichoke, peach, and cheese, tomato, donut, hot dog, bulldozer, boot, and a hat, and a great big pair of shoes. You got your milk bottle, and a pair of boots, a mortar and pestle too, a covered wagon, Noah's Ark, a coffee pot, and a coffee pot, and a coffee pot. Whoa, that's way too much coffee. You shouldn't be drinking that much coffee when you're on the road. So remember, kids, there's a lot of big things in this really big world, and a lot of big things.
Man,
That just made me smile. Oh, wow.
I don't know what to tell you, Joe.
That made me smile.
Joe, you're on mute, I think.
You're on mute. The song got you speechless.
There we go. Yeah, well, if I don't
go.
mute when I'm playing the YouTube video. A couple of things we need to. I don't know if I think we're about ready to wrap up, right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, let me play this then real quick. All right. Before we wrap up, there's a couple things. Little Everett Yoakum has requested that we all yodel with him.
Is this a kink?
He says, "Can everybody yodel with me?" So I
Okay.
don't know if you guys yodel, addle, yodel, addle, ooh.
Yodel-a-hoo.
And your old lady too.
And Dante had one last question too, which I just lost. Where did it go? I'm looking for it, Dante. I'm looking for it.
Skullman did not like the song.
You hater.
Dante, I lost your question here somewhere, but it had to do with Nikki. Oh, here we go. Chicky and Pete's. Last question before you wrap up: are you going to Chicky and Pete's this Friday for $1 crab fries? And do you like them? They're great, and it's only at the main restaurants, excluding Stan's. Personally, I do like Chicky and Pete crab fries. I'm on a low carb diet, so I will not be partaking on Friday. I doubt Perp can get Chicky and Pete's in his neck of the woods.
Yeah, what is
I
that?
doubt Noah can get Chicky and Pete's. Dan, do you have
Is that a
Chicky and
Nickelodeon show?
no, it's a restaurant. It's a Philly-based restaurant. Now Dan is in Harrisburg. Do you have it there?
My only access would be if I went to Hershey Park. They have a couple in the park. Or
But
at
he
least
said it's
one
not
restaurant.
available at Stan's though. So
Oh well, then screw me. So no, I don't.
well, I do. Yeah, no, I think everybody who's had them loves Chicky and Pete's crab fries, but they're a popular treat in the Philly area. So I think that's what we got here.
He said, "Is that a Nickelodeon show?" I just don't want to blow by that comment. That was fun.
Which
That's a great callback.
Chicky and Pete, that's what it sounds like.
That is
That
pretty
was.
good.
I thought that was very funny. Let's not just breeze by that.
Skullman feels that out of control clip is why the West has fallen.
That was from the 80s.
Join us
Like,
next
we've
week.
been falling for a while.
Join us next week when we play Burp and Chili Man.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Crazy Joe needs to take masculinity lessons from a serial killer or someone who's make believe in someone's head.
I have been told, and by the way, this is true. This is true, but I have
Tyler
been told
Durden.
by my old podcasting co-host told me that I have the confidence of a serial killer.
Patrick Bateman.
I thought that was a compliment. My old instructor at work did not, because I told her that, and she said I wouldn't tell many people that.
I
gotta
think
tell-
that is probably not a compliment.
I don't know. I think serial killers have some
how
confidence. Don't you think?
Patrick Bateman.
You got to be confident to kill
Watch.
someone.
He would leave his girlfriend in the table because he had to go return videotapes.
Yeah.
That's masculine.
And he killed one because she touched his watch.
Lisa wants to know, is there actually crab on the fries? No, it's Old Bay on French fries. Lisa, next time you come down here, I'll take you to Chicky and Pete's. You gotta get back down here. So I gotta get back up there too. So all right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks, Dan and Burp.
Yeah, this was
Noah.
fun.
Glad
Thank
to have you.
Travis Bickle wanted to kill a senator, Skull, man. What are you doing to me?
Go.
Take lessons from Travis Bickle. Oh dear.
I think I know why the
Lou
West is
Bloom.
falling,
Oh
sir.
God.
I gotta go.
You're making me take lessons from make-believe characters in film. What's next, Joker?
All right, everybody. Keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
With the plastic feet,
Keep wearing those pajamas.
tell everyone you meet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
With the back door flap,
Keep wearing those pajamas.
don't open it, it's a trap.
Oh no!
It's a trap. Some people call them bitches, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander adamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
I know we're having fun,
Keep wearing those pajamas.
and now the song is done.